Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman, and this afternoon we've got with us Darryl Isaacs, and this is law firm Isaacs and Isaacs in Kentucky. Nice to have you, Darryl.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully I introduced you the right way.
You're fine.
Excellent. So Latte with a Lawyer. Most lawyers aren't drinking lattes, but what's your morning beverage of choice to get started?
I do something called Spark, and it's a vitamin. It's an energy vitamin drink with caffeine. I don't drink coffee, so I do Spark every day, and then I throw a scoop of greens in there, trying to get healthy.
All right, good. Everyone's trying to get healthy. It's not easy with all this junk food around us.
I know.
So listen, I know your background, I know what you do, but for the audience, tell everybody about your practice and how you spend your day.
Well, our law firm does plaintiff personal injury. We do a ton of truck litigation. We do car wrecks, and got about 115 team members. I think I have 28 attorneys. It's something my father and I started 30 years ago, and it's kind of taken off and grown. And since then, we've also started a company called Brain Trust Legal Group, and I help and coach law firms all over the country to do what we do. And I got about 75 law firms in my 5 groups, and it's good. You know, we collaborate, share, and teach and learn, and just great time.
That's excellent. So, I mean, are you actively practicing law these days, or are you more of a mentor?
Well, it's funny. Forever, I started a firm. I was the only attorney. I was doing litigation. I was doing everything, and then it started growing and growing. And I had a horrible accident in 2015, and so basically, I wasn't really able to practice. I just kind of ran it. I mean, I've had 12 surgeries, had all kinds of issues, and now the firm has really gotten much more efficient. So in June, I'm going to go spend 3 weeks. I'm going to do what I wanted to do 25 years ago. I never could get away. I'm going to go to the Gerry Spence College and do 3 weeks. I'm excited to go back and become an attorney again, because I've been a CEO. And anyway, we do a lot of litigation now. After my accident, we just thought, we wanted better settlements. So we just started building a really good litigation team. And so that's kind of our passion now.
Oh, excellent. Good. So your dad, tell me about that, like how, he got started and how you came into the business.
Well, it's interesting because, I flunked the bar twice. I was one of the last in my class. During law school, I was very fortunate. I wasn't fortunate. My grades were terrible. But my first year, I got off probation, and I wanted to do trial work. So I went down to courthouse and I followed an attorney around for a week. I tried to see who, was in court the most. And I was lucky. I went up, and there was a real famous criminal attorney named David Kaplan. And at the time, David had tried like a capital murder case in 38 states. This is back in the 80s, before the internet was really the internet. And I went to work. I offered to work for free, but he let me, during the next 2.5 years, I got to sit and try 22 cases with him, jury trials. And then I also knew something about marketing and branding. So I told him I could get him some car wreck cases, and I got him about 300 car wreck cases. So he let me. I didn't like the criminal law as much as I love personal injury, because my father was a personal injury attorney. So he let me work those. And by the time I graduated, I was getting $500,000 settlements on cases, and we knew how to try cases. So it came out, and I didn't want to stay with him because I didn't want to do the criminal law, but I was so grateful for what he did for me. And I started practice with my father, who had semi-retired, and that's how Isaacs and Isaacs was built. And to this day, that's why I mentor and help a lot of attorneys, because so many attorneys were kind to me.
Oh, it's excellent. So, and how did your dad get in? Where are you from originally? Are you from Kentucky?
Yes, sir. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
My dad was born in Chicago. He moved when he was 4. His father died, so he moved to Louisville. His mother was from Louisville, and so born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. So you're at the Derby this last weekend?
I was at the Oaks. I went to another connectology. John Romano did a TBI, and I have a TBI, so I wanted to go hang out with them. So I did that over the weekend. So I missed the Derby, but I had fun doing what I was doing.
Yeah. No, we know John Romano. I haven't been to one of those events.
Oh, he's fabulous. Hey, he's in one of my mastermind groups that I have, and I mean, he's a legend. You know, early on, I studied like Philip Corboy and Joseph Jamel, all these 30 years ago. So I've always got a passion for phenomenal personal injury attorneys, and John's one of my heroes.
Oh, that's nice to hear. What is it about John that you like?
You know, he's honest, he's real. He talks about his mistake, like he talked about a trial he lost, 10, 12 years ago. But, I mean, a really famous attorney in Louisville, Kentucky, who's dead now, but his name was Frank Headhead Jr. I never forget. He told me the only attorney that wins every trial is the one that tries none. And I don't care who you are, you're going to lose trials and you're going to lose cases, but you get better. And John just when he talks, he just talked about, of course he's had so many victories, but he talks about things he learned. And I just love when attorneys share real world experiences. Another friend of mine, Steve Gerstein, he talked about how he lost the trial. If he had to do it again today, he would win it. And just to have someone get up there and say, hey, I lost, but I want you to learn from it, it's really humbling. And that's always been my approach when I teach a lot. I show everybody all my faults, mistakes, because, Zig Ziglar said it best, one of my other idols, the one who fails the most is usually the best teacher. So I failed more than anybody in America, so I'm qualified.
Well, they say that about Michael Jordan, right? He missed a lot of shots too. I mean, you're right.
Well, you study history. I mean, Michael got cut in high school, and then he became one of the greatest players ever. So, and that's what I try to, especially young lawyers. Nobody's born great and perfect. I mean, you look at some of these attorneys that, there's no secret sauce. I don't care what you do, whether I've lost 80 pounds and it's taken a year and a half, but I was always looking for that magic bullet. But laws, building a practice, same thing. I mean, every day you have to grind and work harder and get better. And when you do lose, you have to, put away your ego and, okay, what did I learn from it? And how can I avoid it again? And so, that's why it's so great to watch some of these phenomenal personal injury attorneys when they talk about, I remember listening to Joseph Jamel, and he got up there and he said he flunked torts. And I'm thinking, oh my God, he flunked torts, when yet he was probably one of the top personal injury attorneys in the world. I mean, he had that $10 billion verdict, umpteen years ago. And so it's just refreshing when other attorneys teach by showing real world examples and their failures.
Yeah, no, listen, I agree. I mean, that is how you learn. You got to make mistakes, right?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, we all do.
You gotta, I mean, it's funny, I'm a salesperson. I tell people, the only way you're gonna learn is get your nose bloody. You gotta get out there, you gotta try, you gotta have conversations, right? And you gotta learn, you gotta keep grinding at it. What you said, I agree with wholeheartedly, for sure. So, but what are the traits of a great trial attorney? I mean, aside from, you never can you said there's no magic bullet, but there's definitely core traits.
Well, I know I'm looking at, it's funny because over the years, I was just I attend all these workshops, and, you study other attorneys and then you see what you did. I mean, early on, I made some great mistakes, but then, I had some really great victories. But one of the traits, and I heard it again yesterday, John talked about it, but you hear people say preparation, but what's that mean? Right. Like I would never, like, we have a great mentor program, our young attorneys and our older attorneys, not age wise, but senior wise, as far as, so, I mean, in the last 3 years, 3 of our new attorneys, their first trial, they got 6-figure verdicts because we pair them up with a seasoned attorney and they split the case. But the one thing that I heard over this weekend, and I agree 100%, you can't like we built a $2 million courtroom for this purpose. I don't want our clients first day on the stand at their trial. I want to bring them in a couple times before and not go through a whole, I don't think you have to do a whole focus group. Everybody's got their different things, but I want to make sure that like our client has been run through the mill, so to speak, where we pepper her or him with questions that the other side, we try to get them, uneasy. And, recently two of our top trial attorneys got a $10 million verdict, and the client, the first 2 times we brought her to our courtroom, I mean, she couldn't even testify. She cried the whole time. But boy, I tell you what, when she went in her day in court, man, it was a hard case, and it was tried from a federal jury, which are so hard. And they hated us all during. And once she got off the stand, we knew it was over. And it's funny, we didn't have the jury we wanted. Everybody was over 60. Everybody was white. I mean, it was a horrible representation of our juries. But sometimes as you know, in federal, you really don't get to do voir dire. The judge does it. But I think that the number one trait is preparation, and don't let your trial be the first time you introduce your client or even you. I mean, I try to get all our attorneys, go over and practice. I mean, I'll go when there's no one in the courtroom and I'll practice, an opening and closing, it's just practice, practice, practice. So.
Yeah. So, how come you didn't do well in school? Practice, practice, practice.
I didn't do that 30, 40 years ago. Well, look, I have a lot of issues. I think a lot of attorneys, I'm OCD, I'm ADD. But they say all the eight students are.
I was going to say that.
I can just tell you, I graduated college with a 3.2 and a law school with a 2.3. They flipped. But my first week in law school, I'll never forget this. I cut class to go watch Fred Dolt, who, in 1989 was one of the inner circle attorneys when the inner circle really, was so different. And I was hooked. I just thought, man, it's so cool to watch these trial attorneys. But I don't know. I wish if I could go back, I would work harder. I would study more. I just, flunking the bar twice. I took everything for granted. But once you get out there and you start working, when you take a loss and a lump, you realize, wow, I'm not working hard enough. So it's like anything else. When you fail and you work harder, you get better, you get the win. It's a gratitude. But if I could do it all over again, I would definitely apply myself more in school.
Yeah, but you might not turn out the same way. So I'm kind of teasing a little bit when I ask that question, but I think what you're really saying is that when you find your passion and you work hard at it, you become really good at it, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's the key. And it has nothing to do with the credential. People make someone right.
I'm just thinking. I think of all the attorneys I've hired, I don't think I've ever asked any what their GPA was, or I always want to know what's your experience. I want to know, can they deal with the customer? Can they close the deal? Can they convince a jury? I don't look at, I don't care what law school they went to. I don't care if they were in law review and all that. Let's face it, trial attorneys need to be great communicators.
Yep.
So if you can't communicate, you can be the smartest person in the world, but if you're afraid to talk or get up there and one of the things that I've learned that's been very successful for me in my practice and everything is I humiliate myself if it makes others better, because it's like a politician. Don't tell me what the other person's not doing. Tell me what you're going to do. So I never worry about what the other side's doing. I only worry about what am I doing. And so that's some of the things I look for in attorneys. And that's some of the things I try to convey.
Yeah. So how do you hire for that? Is there a way to sort of test that somebody's going to be?
Well, there's been different ways. Some of my best hires, I'll tell you, for personal injury, it's hard to get, defense attorneys like for Allstate and State Farm, they're going to try cases all day long. But plaintiff personal injury attorneys, it's harder to find them with trial experience. So a lot of times we've had a lot of luck getting prosecutors. A couple reasons. They're used to dealing with families and their grief. Like one of our prosecutors, he's a phenomenal lawyer, but he prosecuted some high profile cases. And one of them, a 4-year-old boy, was, tortured, murdered, raped, left as a piece of garbage. You imagine what the family's going through. Well, fast forward, now he's working for us. We got a truck that comes and kills somebody. Even though it's a different, criminal act versus civil, you still have a family grieving. You've lost a father or a husband. So I need people that can have compassion and can understand and, help the family. Now, I'm not saying, we just noticed, some of the traits we look for is that, or if I can get some attorney that's had a lot of experience, sometimes, we offer them to try cases almost from the get-go, where a lot of firms will cherry pick, but, sometimes we make them try a bad case. That's the only way we're going to learn. I mean, the insurance companies now are paying on the good cases and make you try the bad ones, but sometimes you got to go.
Yeah. Do you, are you like other trial firms where your people are referring cases to you to trial, or do you litigate everything?
Well, no, we our big cases we try ourselves. We've had, at some point we've referred a lot, and then I got tired of watching all these other attorneys become trial attorney of the state with my cases, because we used to market and advertise. Well, we still do, but now we get all our big cases from referrals. And but the challenging, I'm not going to lie, when you got a volume firm like we're getting thousands of cases, we can only set 30, 40 trials a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes we pick and choose on the value. Like, we may not try the small values anymore, and we'll refer them to some firms, and that gives them experience, and sometimes it's better for the client. So it just depends. But we also have firms that send us cases, and as much as I like it, I can get my own cases. So I don't want to sound horrible, but you're doing the work and you're giving up half the fee, and that's the only way some firms get cases. But we can't handle what we got, so we try not to take too many referrals. We just try to do it ourselves. But sometimes we'll have out-of-state firms will send us cases, and so it is good, I guess, to get them. But that's one of the things we teach other law firms, how to market and brand. And we branded myself, and so again, that's it's a good way to get business. But at the end of the day, we always want to do what's best for the client.
You train your competition, right?
Well, they're not in my states. I do in other states. But
yeah. Other states, okay.
Yeah, but I know that's it's funny. You try a case, you do focus group, and you practice, and you find out what you did wrong, and then you try to get it right. Well, these mastermind groups are the same way. We get together, like one's getting together at the end of May, and I think 12 states are represented. There's going to be 13 firms there. So we're not really competitors, but we'll get together for 3 days. We'll talk shop. We'll put on presentations. We'll say, hey, this worked, this didn't. What's working for you? But it's the same concept. You find out ideas, and so I kind of run the mastermind groups, kind of like we do our trials.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I've certainly learned listening to you guys. And I mean, these events like at TLU or National Trial, you guys are very collaborative. You share.
Yeah.
Which is
I know Dan was just right before I said I gotta go phone Ambrose. He's always calling me because, well, I feel I love him, but I'm working for him.
Right, that's right. Wait, are you going to the event in Huntington Beach?
Yeah, I'm teaching a 2-day. I thought I was just going to teach half a day, but so apparently I'm teaching a 2-day, which, don't get me wrong, I love, but I want to go listen to Brian Panish and Rex Paris. So trying to juggle that. But well, yeah,
I'll see you out there.
Okay.
And I assume you're buddies with Joe Freely. I heard you say trucking a bunch of times. So.
Oh yeah. I just saw Joe in Nashville. Yeah, Joe's amazing. Great, phenomenal truck attorney. But he also likes to. I love attorneys that like to teach and educate. Right. Like, early on, there's a real famous attorney in Kentucky named Gerry Johnson, and he's gotten older. But Gary's just one of the truly amazing attorneys. But early on, I went, and I could tell I fell in love with this guy because he said, I don't want your cases. I want to make you better. I mean, I want to go to a seminar that wants to make me better. Don't tell me just send you the cases and you'll do the work. That's the easy way. I want to do the hard work.
Right. Yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah, no, I think that's a sign of like sort of, you've arrived when you start teaching and giving back.
Yeah.
I like that. So what would you tell someone today who's thinking about becoming a lawyer? What would your advice
It's
be?
the greatest profession in the world. I mean, I got friends that are doctors and they'll debate you, you can't save a life. And, you know, I keep thinking, yeah, but while your ancestors were, you know, putting leeches and bleeding everybody, ours were writing the Declaration of the Independence. So I don't know. I think you need all kinds, but a law degree is phenomenal. I mean, even if you're not going to practice law, you can use it so many ways. There's just so many areas of law. I got three brothers, and two of the three, well, there's four of us total, and there's three lawyers out of four. And, we do personal injury. Another one does like estate planning law and pensions. And the other one, he did some personal injury and retired, but there's so many areas that you can go into. So
It's interesting. So you got lawyers in your family. Do you have any kids?
I have three kids, and I'm hoping one goes to law school.
Okay, good.
One of the three.
So the one kid is already showing interest in that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, he wants to take over the firm. I'm like, just show up and take over the firm. You got to start at the janitor level. But no, it's I got three talented kids, and everybody's proud of their kids. And my oldest, I thought was going to be a lawyer. He had my name, but he's a musician, and he's written over 100 songs. So I can't fault him. That's his passion. I always tell him you can always go to law school as a fallback. And I got a daughter that she might go to law school. She was thinking about med school, but she can sing and act, and she's a college athlete. So we'll see what she does.
Oh.
But her twin brother's the one that he wants the firm, and I thought, well, go to law school. We'll talk about it.
There you go. You can be like the Murdochs, right? Where they're like the rivalry to take over the empire.
Well, we'll see. I don't know how it's going to go. I'm going to hang on as long as I can. But I love practicing law. I love running a law firm, and I love helping attorneys. So, I'm 59, and I can see doing this till I die. I mean, I travel. I'm very blessed, but sitting on a beach and staring at the water all day is not for me. I like being active.
You like the action. Were you an athlete? Were you an athlete as a young guy?
Oh, in my own mind. I played football. I wasn't good. Everybody says how great they were. I was terrible. I played football, and baseball was really good young, but I gave it up for football. I was just too slow. But, I love sports. I love I like teamwork. So I like being part of a team, win or lose. That's what, our law firm, same way, we have teams, and you got to be a part of the team, and everybody's got to have their role. So I love sports when it's team oriented. I'm not saying, I've had nephews that swam, and a lot of I think a lot of individual sports are great, but I've always,
That's why I asked you, because I just assume, people that are like competitive and they like building teams, usually they have kind of a sports background.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I believe it translates really well
right
into business. So you build your own mock trial courtroom there?
Yes, sir. Well, what we did, I wanted the real thing. So I sent an architect over for 2 weeks to the local courthouse, and we made arrangements where she could go in and take measurements and pictures. And so they drew up the plans, and it's the exact size, replica, everything.
Wow.
So that way, I was teasing, I'm very blessed, one got exposed through TL, all them. So Brian Panish, I was talking one day, and I thought, as phenomenal as he is, as much as they win, he didn't have his own courtroom. And I thought, why is that? So, but yeah, I can't remember where I got the idea, and we may be the only firm in Kentucky that has it, but I just I don't know. You think of a football team or basketball team, and they have a practice facility, and they watch film and they study. I just think we need a place to practice. I mean, instead of trying to practice in an office, I just think it's great that you can go in and, we have the courtroom, and they can. It's just, ever since we built it, it's just. It's probably the number one reason we started winning. I think in our last 13, 14 trials, we've lost one and won the rest. So I think it's just invaluable.
And okay, and you attributed to having that courtroom.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because, oh, absolutely. Yeah, because everybody's got to practice. And we even have meetings, twice a month where all the attorneys have to go and pick cases and in front of their peers. I mean, gosh, if you can't practice in front of your peers, how are you going to go in front of, strange juries, So yeah, you force them in there.
Do you bring in panels though outside?
We've done focus groups. I don't like to do focus groups in our courtroom because obviously they know which position we're going to be in.
Okay.
But we'll do focus groups in other cities, or we'll let other companies run it. But there's been times where instead of doing a full-blown focus group, we'll maybe get 6 or 8 people, bring them in, and we just want to run ideas by them. So we'll present both sides, and then we can tape their discussions. And there was one case in particular we kind of stumbled on this, but it was a trucking case. It was really hard. It was in Indiana, because Indiana, if you're 51%, you can't recover. But we had some issues about the client that we didn't know how well it would go over a jury. And thank God we did that, because I think the first 2 times we did it, look, I never want to win a focus group. I want to lose so I know what we're doing wrong. But the first 2 times we got dinged so bad, and we never considered this one element. And sure enough, they brought it out early on, and they ended up settling before the jury came back, but they paid us a ton of money. And had we not done that, I don't think they would have settled. It was a risk because liability was in question, but there was another element that I'm not going to say, but just put it this way: if we didn't do the focus, I mean, we got paid millions, we would have not got that. So that's why now we try to do it in a lot of areas. But I noticed everybody's got their theory on. I thought we did a good focus group until I went and saw Brian Panish, and I thought we're terrible. Brian's was amazing because, I mean, they had it down to a science, and we did a lot of generalities where they lit. I mean, it was another level. So it's interesting to go learn from other firms and realize what works and what doesn't.
Got it. Interesting. So you're gonna focus through more cases than I would imagine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Excellent. And what other technology do you use in the firm?
We're switching to FileVine. We haven't fully implemented it, but a lot of law firms, there's so many good ones out there. You hear about Litify, Smart Advocate, FileVine. So we kind of looked at them all, but at the end of the day, it's only as good as the people that put the information in.
Right.
And we used Needles forever, and then we switched to GrowPath, but not everybody was using them. So one of the deals we worked out when we switched to FileVine is everybody's got to participate. It's a requirement to work here. So we're going to enforce it.
What happens if they don't?
They can't work here because, you can't, you're going to try a case, or you have a case, or we all got to be on the same page. Nowadays with technology and everybody going paperless, if it's not in the system, it doesn't exist.
I'm with you. I mean, it's the same thing. I'm teasing you because CRM, same thing, right? You got to get people to participate, otherwise it's worthless. But it's really hard to get people to adopt.
It is, and I'm at Fred Flintstone in technology. I mean, yeah. I'm a dinosaur, so I'm the one that's I've been violating my rule the most, because I love having a file. I mean, I'm sitting there looking. I like having a file, but we got to go paperless. We got to do this, and when you go to court, we got to bring someone with technology and a computer and laptop, because they got to pop it up. I don't know how to do it, but so now we have people do it, but it's just our world today. So the e-file, I hate it, honestly. I used to love running over and block and drop, as I used to say it, but everything's different.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this whole ChatGPT?
Well, it's interesting because we were talking about his Zoom call with one of my groups. It's going to be good and bad, because make sure you can't use it as authority, because some of the stuff it's coming up with, it's very wrong, but there is ways I do a lot of social media, and you can get ideas, but I know there's a lot of companies think, oh my God, now it's going to replace all these workers. But again, it's like Wikipedia. Do you really believe credibility. Some things, about Wikipedia, I could look what it's written about me. Some is right, some is wrong. Chat GPT or whatever it's called. I wouldn't quote it as authority, but it's interesting and it's fun to play with. But at the end, it's like you go to a supermarket or Target and, you got self-scanners check out. I always love interaction with people because I'm a people's person. So, but what happens when you have a problem? You're checking out and it's jammed. You got to get a person to come over.
Right.
So I'm never, like, I drive a Tesla, but I would never let it self-drive. I never use cruise control. There's some things in this world I just, I want to be able to do with my hands or with my brain. So,
I hope I mean, there's a lot of speculation about that. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but I think like everything, it gets the hype. Initial hype is.
But this is what you do, so you know more about it than me. I mean, I think there's a lot of companies that can use it to their advantage. I just think law firms, at least the firms that litigate, at the end of the day, I know my brother was on. He's my CFO. And he's so excited. He said, we're a month away where they can take all our depots and put it in and it'll just spat it out in 15 minutes. Well, that's great, but somebody's still got to read it, So
well, I don't think it replays. I think it's a lever, right? It's like a mechanical lever, right? It helps you complete the task, but you still have to finish it.
Right.
I think that's really what AI is all about. I mean,
yeah, you're probably right. Again, I was in law school in 1988, and I'll never forget, 1987, I bought the first computer. It was an 8086, whatever that meant. So you're talking 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I took data processing all in college, but even today, I know how to turn a computer on. I don't know how to operate it. I mean, I use 10%. It's just not my mind. Take me out of the law and I'm clueless, and I'm probably clueless in the law.
All right. Well, listen, anything else that you want people to know about you? I don't know, tidbit.
Well, I have a TBI, and I tell people that because I encourage people. We've represented, gosh, since we started this, over 60,000 people. And I mean, we've had so many TBI cases, but I never thought I had one,
Okay.
and then when I had it, I got hit by a car. And so now I share with everybody because I want everybody to be aware you can have it still work and function. And, but that's probably my accident that happened in 15 is it's made me better at everything. And ever since then is when we decided to, I will tell you, we are having, we're having our summit where we're going to have up to 600 attorneys and teach them a lot of things, how to grow and build if they want $1 billion law firm. We're having it August 24th to the 26th in Nashville. So anybody, it's going to be some great speakers and a lot of networking. But outside of that, we love what we do, and it's always fun to talk to people like yourself and keep helping the lawyers like you do.
Yeah. No, it's excellent. That's a good announcement. I mean, that's something that maybe we'll go to as well. It sounds like a good event. Where is it held? What's the venue? It's
going to be in Nashville, Tennessee at the Omni.
Okay.
Our company's called Brain Trust Legal Group, but I don't know. We did one last year. I had about 450 attorneys, and it was, everybody said they liked it. And so we decided to go back. But, it's just a way to get attorneys together thinking about, personal injury cases, a lot of great companies that they might want to do business with. And I don't know. It's just sometimes it's fun to hang out with other lawyers and hear what they're doing. And then, you can learn what you're doing is good or bad, or, maybe you meet some new friends. And I think last year someone sent me, I thought it was really cute. Someone met there and they got engaged. So I thought, oh, great. So
there you go. You're a matchmaker now.
Yeah, a matchmaker. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I won't take up any more of your time. I really appreciate the
all right, well, thank you. Thank you for having me, sir.
Conversation. And again, for everybody, Darryl Isaacs, Isaacs or Brain Legal Trust. This is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which is a legal tech platform, and we help guys like you prepare for litigation, trials, and mediations with our Insights platform. Thank you. Really a lot of fun getting to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.